Three True School Lockdown Horror Story Animation by NJV Animations. Yo, watch the
The
chat.
day.
I can hardly believe the wishes coming on my day. Watch the chat. What'd you do? Get your popcorn or snack. Get your drink with it. Get something cozy like a blanket. And just watch and just vibe with me. Cause Three True Schools Lockdown Horror Story Animations about to go hard. You can tell it, bro. You can tell, right, Chad? Come on.
Average school day, just like any other for the most part. I remember I was sitting in my history class, which I think was the third period of the day. That's when somebody came to the door of the classroom with a note. I remember back at my high school, a couple of students would work for the office each hour and deliver passes to the students. The passes would usually be for the students to leave school for things like dentist appointments or whatever. When the student got to our class, she handed the note to my teacher, Mr. Watterson. He read the note and then called my name. I was really surprised because I wasn't aware of having any reason to leave the school that day. I thought maybe I forgot about a dentist appointment or something, but my mother hadn't mentioned anything, and I know she would have. When my name was called, I looked around and then got up and slowly walked to my teacher. He said something like, "See you later, pal, here's the homework." Then he grabbed the assignment from his desk and handed it to me. I took the note, which also served as a hall pass, and left the classroom. I remember that's when I read the pass for the first time. The note said something like, "I will be here to pick you up for your appointment at 10:30. Mom." I guess I had an appointment of some sort. It just seemed a little bit strange to me. Still, I guess I was happy to be leaving school. I walked through the empty hallways, making my way to the side entrance. There was a parking lot there,
No,
which is
that's
where people would
strange.
get picked up by their parents. I got to the doors and went outside into the parking lot. There, I saw a minivan, but it wasn't my mother's van. It was a different model and color. I figured it was somebody else's parent, and my mother wasn't there yet. The time was not quite 10:30, but I think it was like 10:28 or something. I don't remember exactly. I stood there, looking around, waiting for my mother to get there. And then I saw the minivan that was sitting there with the engine running, and the front passenger's window started to roll down. I looked and saw a woman.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Who the hell is that? Who's that? Okay, zoom in. Run for your life. It's still an option.
Turn her head over and look at me. We made eye contact, and I could tell that she was going to say something. Then she did. The woman said that she was there to pick me up, and my mother had asked her to. She then said that she was a friend of my mother. I had never seen this woman before in my life, though. I may not have been the brightest kid in the world, but I sure wasn't that stupid. I was extremely skeptical. I asked the woman how she knew my mother exactly, and the woman replied saying something like, "We're just old friends." I then told the woman that I didn't feel comfortable going with her, and I was going to wait for my mother.
Hello? I'm tuning this in a video, bro, and there's nothing that school lockdown horror. It's horror, right? It's animation, right? Where's the lockdown? Wait, is the lockdown after? Wait, let's go, let's go.
The woman tried to get me to just go in the van. I then turned around to head back into the school. This situation was starting to feel really sketchy. The problem was, when I got back to the side doors of the school, they wouldn't open. The doors were locked. I had forgotten that all doors to the school were locked during the school day, besides the front main entrance. Then, things got worse. I looked back to the van to see a side sliding door start to open up. I wasn't aware that anybody else had been inside of
What
it.
was that?
A man emerged and started walking towards me. The van was maybe
Who the fuck?
50 feet away at this point, as I stood right outside of the side doors to the school. I felt like my only option was to run away. I turned and ran around to the front side of the school. I didn't bother to look back at all to see if I would be chased. Back then, I could run pretty fast, and luckily, I made it around to the front end of the school pretty quickly. I kept running until I got to the front doors, and then I walked inside. When you first got inside the front doors at the school, There was a little window where a woman sat during the school day. She would ask you who you were, and you had to show her your student ID or whatever. She asked me for my ID, and as I got it out, I tried to tell her about what had just happened. I must not have explained it very well, though, because she seemed pretty confused. And to be honest, the whole situation was pretty confusing. I got a hall pass from my mother to leave school for an appointment that I didn't know what it was. Then my mother wasn't there, but another woman was, and asked me to go with her. Then a grown man popped out of the side of the van. Believe me, I was just as confused as she was. After confirming my school ID, the woman at the window wrote me a pass to go back to my history class, and I was on my way. I walked through the empty hallways of the school, back to class. This was just about 15 minutes after I had originally left. When I walked back in, my teacher was speaking, and there was a video that was paused on the board. I remember it was super awkward walking into the middle of class. Everybody was staring at me. They, as well
What is this, bro?
as the teacher, were probably all really confused seeing me return soon after I had left. Back so soon? Mr. Watterson said. I just said, yeah, there was confusion and I didn't have to leave. The lesson continued. Class only went on for about another 10 minutes after that, and then we were let out. My next period was English. This class was always pretty boring to me for some reason, but it was also fairly easy. I had Miss Gallo as my teacher, who was very nice. I got to class, and the day started like any other. But during this class, probably 20 minutes in, Miss Gallo got a phone call at her desk. She paused the lesson and answered it. When she hung up the phone, she told us that we were going into a lockdown, and she made it clear that this was not a drill. She seemed fairly concerned, and we all had to leave our desks and sit on the ground in the back of the classroom. We had no idea what it was about, and I truly had no clue either. I wasn't able to connect the dots for some reason. The lockdown went on for a good 30 minutes. Everybody was really quiet, and most people didn't say anything. Eventually, there was another phone call. Miss Gallo went over and answered it, and returned to inform us that the lockdown had been lifted. We were all relieved, and we finished up class, which didn't last too much longer. There was still another hour of school left at that point. By the time the school day was over, though, the word had spread, and I had found out what the lockdown was for. A man had walked into the school and completely surpassed the woman at the window asking for credentials. She asked him to stop, but he just blew past her without saying a word and walked into the school. He then disappeared into the hallways, and she had to call the office, who made the decision to lock down the school until the individual was found and identified. Unfortunately, he hid. It took about 30 minutes to find him, and the police had to be called. They found him hiding in the bathrooms that were right by my locker. And the craziest part was that it was the same man who had come out of the minivan that had tried to pick me up. This story remains one of the craziest things to ever happen to me. The woman and the man must have somehow created the note for me and tried to get me to leave the school. Who they were and how they found me, I truly have no idea. It really freaks me out to think about that part. Luckily, nothing like that happened again.
Wow. I think that's it, champ. I mean, it was good. It was good. Y'all can watch the. I'm not gonna watch it next week, but if y'all want to watch it yourself, it's the Three True School Lockdown Horror Story Animation by MJV Animations. Go subscribe to him right here. I can zoom in. So this is it.